last time out. Things went pretty well as we head into the final corner onto the pit straight, and Buddy Simpson is going to finish in P8. So a fairly average race for him. Now it was time for Buddy to head off to the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix. So Formula 1 has arrived at the final European race on the schedule at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, and it was always going to be an interesting one, this one, because obviously, as you all know, Buddy has a grid penalty due to engine mileage, so he'll be starting from the back. He's taken new components for this race, so he'll be starting from the back. Pretty much the whole power unit is all new, so he may be at the back of the grid, but he will certainly have some pace, especially on the long straights. Without further ado, it was time for the qualifying report. The Tifosi was out in force as qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix was about to get underway. Sauber once again struggled as they were last in qualifying in 18th and 19th. McLaren were always going to struggle as this track exposed their lack of power, and they only qualified 15th and 17th. Whilst Toro Rosso had an average session, Haas qualified well in 9th and 11th, whilst Williams confusingly struggled on a track that should be suited to them. Buddy Simpson lined up at the back due to a grid penalty. Both Force Indians qualified well, with the track really playing to their strengths. Red Bull had an average session, qualifying in 5th and 6th respectively. Lewis Hamilton just missed out on pole, which went to Sebastian Vettel, who, to the delight of the Tifosi, took pole for Ferrari. To the delight of the Tifosi, it was going to be a red car on pole position. So, taking a look at how they line up for this race, and on pole position it is Sebastian Vettel ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who lines up in 2nd place for Mercedes. In 3rd it is Valtteri Bottas ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo. The two Force Indians look out the 4th row ahead of Romain Grosjean and Nico Hülkenberg. Kevin Magnussen lined up in 11th ahead of Kvyat, who out-qualified Sainz. Williams were disappointed to struggle, whilst Alonso and Van Dorn qualified in 15th and 17th. Vernon qualified in 18th and Ericsson 19th, whilst Buddy Simpson starts at the back due to an engine penalty.
It's a very tight turn 1 here and a very big braking zone. It's a corner, Anthony Davidson, where we've seen a number of lap 1 incidents in the past.
As you say, it's a very small piece of track when you have more than just one car trying to go through it. The actual run down towards the chicane is quite wide, so off the start we'll often see drivers running 2 or maybe 3 abreast as they come up towards the braking zone. Everyone wants to brake late, of course, to win track position, and that tends to be where we see a lot of contact. And you'll see the more experienced drivers kind of hang back a little into here and focus more on picking up the pieces from other people's incidents.
So, Buddy is sitting at the back of the grid in a position he's not really that accustomed to, obviously because he's not used to starting at the back, but it's an engine penalty that he has, and he decided to take it at this race due to it being an easy track to overtake. And obviously taking it in, say, Singapore would have been a good idea, but he took it in Monza so he could have a fast engine on a track where he'd usually be disadvantaged when it came to engines. So I think it's a wise choice that Buddy took to go with to take the new engine for this race and have the grid penalty here, because his straight line speed will be high and no one else has taken it, so it's likely that other drivers will be using old engines. As you can see, we are lining up on the grid. Now in Monza we won't have a long wait, as we're obviously the last car to line up on the grid. As you can see, we have the lights in Monza. Lights out, away we go. But it doesn't get the best of starts. That doesn't really matter, but obviously he's at the back anyway. And he's clear in case anything goes wrong going into the rest of the video. As you can see, he's found a gap to go into going into the first corner. And he's already seemingly made a position. But Marcus Ericsson makes a little bit of contact there with Buddy on the exit of the Rettifidio. And almost pushes Buddy off the track. As you can see, he's got the run heading up towards the Della Rod chicane. He's already passed Stoffel Van Dorn, but Ericsson just gives him absolutely no space. And Buddy could do nothing to avoid hitting the back of Ericsson. His front wing is slightly damaged, and Buddy was not amused.
Oh, come on, what was that? He just completely forced me off the track. He always does it whenever I overtake him. Someone needs to give this guy a ban.
Okay, Buddy, don't worry. The front wing is fine. Just keep going.
So as you can hear there, Buddy really not amused by that defence from Marcus Ericsson. As you can see, he's got the run on the two Salvers heading up towards Parabolica, but he's got Stoffel Van Dorn right behind. But Buddy, I think, is going to go for the move, but he's not quite close enough. As he heads into the Parabolica, now he's got to really make use of the power advantage that he has in the new engine. And he's got the move on Verline. And is he going to be able to get past Ericsson as well? He's going to go for the dive heading into the Rettifidio, but there's a little bit of contact, and again Ericsson squeezes him out, and Pascal Verline is alongside as they head through Curva Grande. And Buddy is able to get ahead of Verline, but Marcus Ericsson really proving not an easy car to pass. Now moving on to lap 3, as you can see, Ericsson and Alonso are battling it out. Two cars that will have power deficits in them. As you can see, Buddy's got the run on both cars heading up towards the Parabolica, and he's going down the inside, and he's made the move stick on Alonso, but not quite Ericsson, so he's now got to see if he can make it stick as he heads down the back straight, the main straight. And as you can see, Van Dorn is right behind. He's got DRS, but we're going to have to be really careful here. We're going to dive it up the inside of Marcus Ericsson. And are we going to get it, make it stick this time? This time, Marcus is unable to squeeze us out like he did before. He tried to, but he couldn't quite. And we're side by side, heading through the Curva Grande. But is he going to try to late brake, heading into the Della Roger? No, he doesn't. So we are up into 16th. So Buddy has finally got past Marcus Ericsson. He was quite pleased about that.
Thank God for that. Now I no longer have to fear being taken out.
But Buddy did not manage to get away from the McLaren of Stoffel Van Dorn that easy. And as you can see, he's got DRS as they head up. And whilst we're having to do some fuel saving, he's able to get past in a very interesting way, to say the least. By the way, he parked his car on the apex there. But we've got the run, and obviously we have the power advantage. We have changed it up to standard mix, heading up to the Parabolica, which will give us DRS down the main straight, and that should be the position for us. Moving on to a little bit later, as you can see, Buddy dispatches off Lance Stroll quite easily heading into the Rettifidio chicane. There was actually a little bit of contact there, front to rear. Buddy was lucky not to get a puncture there. As you can see, Buddy now is able to draft past the Haas of Kevin Magnussen, and Buddy has made that move stick before he latches onto the back of the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat. Moving around a little bit is the Toro Rosso, but Buddy has made that move stick despite locking up slightly heading into the first corner. So Buddy is really starting to make up some ground. And as you can see, he's now behind the Williams of Felipe Massa. You can see he moves around a little bit, so Buddy's now going to try it around the outside, but Massa just completely moves across, and Buddy can't do anything but escape across the runoff, and he's got a penalty. And Buddy was not happy about that.
Honestly, what the? How do I get a penalty for that? He forced me off the track, I could do nothing. What do they expect me to do? Just crash into him?
Massa then starts to get away. Obviously, Buddy, as you'd expect, was not happy with that. There really wasn't much he could have done. As you can see, Massa and Sainz are battling it out ahead, and they slow down, and Buddy has got a great exit off of the Ascari chicane. Massa moving around a little bit. They're going to be 3 wide, heading into the parabolic, and Buddy goes onto the grass, heading round the outside of Carlos Sainz, and he has made that move stick. That was very close racing there. So as you can see, looking at the replay, that could have been quite nasty if Buddy had lost control there, but he has made that move stick. Probably one of Buddy's best overtakes. So Buddy's teammate is the next car ahead, Nico Hulkenberg. As you can see though, Danny Kvyat did actually manage to clear the cars behind, and he is now behind Buddy, and Buddy's tyres have gone off, so he is struggling to get away from Kvyat a little bit as we head into Parabolica. Obviously, as you can see, Kvyat's going for the move. There's a little bit of contact there, heading into the Parabolica. Buddy did leave Kvyat space, but as you can see, Felipe Massa's going alongside. What is he doing? He's just steering straight at him, and there's major contact down the straight, and Carlos Sainz has been collected, and Buddy was absolutely furious.
Honestly, what the he just tried to kill me at 220 miles an hour. What the heck? Give that a ban for life. Honestly.
Obviously, Buddy very unhappy, and rightly so. As you saw from Massa's on board, there really wasn't anything Buddy could have done about it. Massa just steered into him. Looking at it again from the TV cameras, as you can see, Massa just steered into him, and then obviously Buddy lost control. How this took no one out of the race, I don't know. But Buddy did lose his wing along with Massa and Sainz. So as you can see, we all have to pit for repairs, and this is Buddy's race completely ruined, really through absolutely no fault of his own. As you can see, they head into the pits, and Buddy switching to the soft tyre, so this counts as his first stop, potentially his only stop, so you could go to the end and still have the possibility of salvaging something, especially if there was a safety car. As you can see, something that puts another dent in that, Buddy has been lapped, and that means even with a safety car, I mean, yes, those cars haven't pitted yet, but the Mercedes are quite a way ahead, and this means even with a safety car, it's going to not help Buddy's race, because he will then fall even further behind. So Buddy is going to need a miracle to get any points here today. It seems Sainz's car suffered the most long-term damage, hence why Buddy was able to easily clear Carlos Sainz heading into the Parabolica. And when he caught up to the Sauber of Pascal Wehrlein, hence there were a few cars who hadn't stopped that he was still ahead of when they pitted. As you can see, Buddy right behind Pascal Wehrlein, and he has made the move stick with ease heading into the Rettifilo. But despite the fact he was able to pass Marcus Ericsson, his temper was really strong, still going from that crash that took place.
Honestly, if it wasn't for that hit me, I could be in the points right now. What the? Why are we battling these guys?
Calm down, Buddy. Focus on the driving.
Buddy's temper did not improve though, and he was not happy with a request to stop the car.
Okay, buddy. We think we should retire the car in order to save the engine.
Off.
Buddy, please don't speak like that and calm down.
Eventually though, Buddy's tyres were really wearing down. But not as much as his temper though, obviously, as you heard there by the way he quite rudely shut down his engineer. But as you can see, heading into the Lesmo, he puts on the power too much and he taps the wall and loses his end plate.
Okay then, this I am boxing to retire.
Makes sense. We are ready for you. Box, box.
So Buddy comes into the pits to retire from the race, his second retirement of the 2017 season. Obviously a very disappointing race, what could have been, and obviously, unfortunately it wasn't, through something that really was not his fault. Unfortunately, as you can see, they do change the nose, don't know why they're doing that, but Buddy has retired from the race officially. Very disappointing day at the office. As you can see, it's Lewis Hamilton that won from Raikkonen, Bottas and Vettel, but two retirements in the form of Buddy and Kevin Magnussen. But as you can see, the Mercedes team celebrating their result. It was a good day for them. Shame the same could not be said for us, unfortunately. But Lewis Hamilton celebrates. It's expected that Mercedes were going to reign supreme here because of their engine advantage. As you can see, the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo getting out of his car. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton celebrating a win. So it was a very disappointing race for Buddy. But the big question was, can he bounce back as F1 exits Europe and heads back to Asia under the lights of Singapore? Oh, piss off. Hello?
Hello, Buddy. I saw your crash on TV. And I personally am starting to think that Formula 1 is much too dangerous for you. So therefore, I don't think you should be racing in it.
Dangerous. You're going around and over at like 230 miles an hour. How can you say that you don't
want your son doing F1 thinking that it's too dangerous when you're trying to get me to do IndyCar? That's much
more dangerous.
Don't hang up on me. You're not going to be an F1 for long. I'm going to Singapore.